that country is going to be. And I think the only direct investment into the future of a country is the investment the government and the nation itself has made on the young people. So because of the fact that we have decided to look aside, we have decided not to agree as a nation to invest competently into our education sector, a lot of degrading things has happened, and it has shaped the way at which we have viewed what is called success. Because we now see, I want to disagree with what he said, that in the olden time we used to have hard work. I think now we need to have smart work, because the world has moved, and we should probably change the way we define success as a nation. We now define success in terms of grade, not in terms of what you can do to society. And that is why in my last article I talked about where we can have an education system that deals directly with the problems of our immediate society. The kind of education curriculum we have right now cannot even prepare you or program you, prepare you for a job of the next 20 years, talk of now. So I think we should go back and change that, our national orientation about what the future of this country should look like.
No, but do you agree with that? Because
I agree totally. But the fact that if you don't smartly and working hard, they go together.
I would have thought that.
They go together. It is not because you are pushing chalk. A chalk pusher can push it smartly, and the other one is just pulling it as he likes.
I think it basically boils down on what we have defined as success in our climb. You know, success to someone like a student like me might be having a hay, whereas that success might not directly translate to societal success.
Now, you can tell me that we have to start looking at skills and competencies and not certificates.
Yeah.
So if you tell me that, I agree with you totally.
So the premium we have placed on the certificate has actually brought a lot of young people striving in whichever means they could to make sure they make this, even if they are not qualified to make such certificates.
No, but at the same time, I'll bring you in. The fundamentals of any business, of any smart, involvement in any industry, lies in the understanding of the basics. See, so you cannot get somebody to go invent something in the area of physics without him understanding the fundamentals of physics.
Yeah, like the laws of
motion. Am I right?
And all. Yeah, sure.
Okay. See, so while it is quick, and this notion of we want to get there faster, what I'm trying to establish from the beginning of this debate is it that our problem is society driven, in the sense that are we expecting, is it because we're expecting too much of the students in terms of success? Is that the reason why many of them started by cheating in during the exit exams at the secondary school? And then this carries on to the university. If I can cheat to get into the university, I can just as well cheat to get out of the university.
Yes.
Am I right?
Yes.
See, so what I'm saying is, let's look at the basics. How did we get to this point where we are in the society, where girls are prepared to trade sex for grades? The young men who don't want to read are prepared to pay the lecturers. And it's a good thing we have 2 lecturers here. So you guys need to let me know how much you collected so far.
Like I said earlier on, you see, when we look at it, it involves a broad spectrum of issues. He mentioned curriculum. Just in the passing, he didn't elaborate on it. Like I said, the issue of curriculum itself, perhaps going back to what he said, what my learned colleague said, those days, what was the concern or the policy of education? It was just to have literacy. It was basically a literacy. Yeah. And then that is when the 3 R's, reading, arithmetic, and writing, came in. Just 3. You can memorize poems in English, everything, and read the lines in tens, in hundreds even. In some cases, depending on your ability to commit that into memory. Can students do that now? No. But does it mean that the standard of education has fallen? No. Why have we gotten here? The curriculum. That's the content. At the primary school level, at the basic education level, how many subjects are students taking now? More than 15. You see your kid carrying his rucksack of how many textbooks in it? You expect that student to be able to recall lines or poem, just one subject? When you are taking ICT, when it's made to take computer, besides ICT, when it's made to take mathematics, when it's made to take a lot of other subjects, 15, not less than 15. I see my kids carry their rucksack and I said, don't carry everything. Just carry those ones that you will do in a day. That is curriculum. And what relevance have we really defined? Like I said, have we really defined our goals? If you look at the national policy on education and you see what has been enunciated for the skills, for the university, that is talking about tertiary now, the universities, polytechnic, you see so many things articulated in it. We ought to have a 6-3-3-4 or 6 combination of 6 now and then 4. Going by it's just a merger. The 6-3-3-4 was initially tailored to galvanize Nigeria into the technological world. Yeah. I recall that provisions were made for all those gadgets and all that for importation.
Some of them came.
They came, but they were diverted.
Yes,
but we never got there. Why? Because of policy implementation, the flip-flops and somersaults of our policies. So this word is on the angle of policy for a laudable curriculum developed, never achieved, because the implementation of itself was flawed. Then we talk about other aspects, especially the environment the students are made to learn in. What kind of environment do we have now? Are they such that are conducive? Because today, let me use one aspect of the environment. Students' strength-lecturer ratio. In most of our institutions, you have a lecturer addressing a crowd, like the market crowd. You have a lecture theater. We have TEDFund incidentally has been building us lecture theaters now. Some theaters contain over 2,000, and you have a lecturer there taking over 2,000. The question is, how would he supervise? How would he conduct CA? You need to conduct CA to award 40 marks. 40 marks. That is done not less than 3 times, maybe 10-10 and 20, or 20-10-10, depending on how you may wish to conduct it. Then for over 1,000 or 2,000 students in most cases, at the end of the day, how would you assess that properly? So that is just one aspect of the environment. Yes, and then you now talk about the management. The environment itself has to do with the administration and management of the institutions. What kind of people do we have there? Let me share an experience with you. Of recent, I had a cause to address the governing councils of colleges of education, including the provost. And then the issue of employment came. And I said, when you are going to employ for us, please ensure that you employ those that are qualified. Why did I say that? I said, the administration and management of our institutions have, in most cases, compromised the processes by bringing in people that are not qualified. So the environment itself, do we have people that are qualified there? It's not just the aspect of students, disposition and all that. and besides the issue of the environment, we also have, still within the environment, the issue of the resource materials. What kind of resource materials exist? We are in the era of e-library now. How many institutions have e-library? If they do, are they functional? And let me leave the other aspects of, then let's go to the learner. What kind of disposition do the learners have? Are they properly brought up? That is their parental background. If they are. I mentioned this proper upbringing because of the exposure to things that are antithetical to good learning. In form of what? Maybe involvement at home, maybe influences of the culture, influences of parental influences that are detrimental to education, like courtesy, exposure to courtesy or thuggery. What students that are involved in thuggery? To what extent would those ones be willing to submit themselves to the conditions and learning environment as dictated by the institutions?
Thank you. I think you're beginning to sound like you're in the lecture room. So
sorry?
It's okay, But I think we understand clearly where you're coming from. We just want to take a quick break. And when we return, yes, we'll still be talking about our abysmal state of education in the country. In as much as a lot of things you've said, we will examine them much more closely. Thank you. We'll be right back.
When you're looking at these women, what you'll be wondering is perhaps, a protest against marginalization and victimization against Nigerian women. The plight of a disabled person is glaring. The people say they just do not need only sympathy from the government, but a structured welfare plan.
Statistics have shown that over 250,000 children are malnourished.
The worrisome about baby factories and baby cells is that these evils are being perpetrated by women like me.
Nigerian women are the ones who build this economy from the bottom to the top.
Africa is in need of evacuation centers. In Nigeria, we have none. We have schools for makeshift refugee camps. That's got to stop.
Gender Agenda, every Saturday at 1 p.m. with Adora Onyechere.
We welcome you back to examining the abysmal state of education in Nigeria. And I still have my guests here, NUHU, Olawale, and Isine. Before we left, you were talking about all this, basically for me, all the psychological intrusion. Many of them environmental, others governmental. There are all kinds of reasons why you're saying that our educational system, it's the kind of in a pariah state that we have it today. However, having said that, I'd like to ask Isine to come in and let's dissect the role that the government needs to play or should have played before things got this bad.
All right. It is really very unfortunate that the government that should be on the driver's seat and churning out good policies and ensuring that those policies are implemented to the letter has always been lax. My colleague mentioned about the flip-flop policy inconsistency. Now, when you have like the 644, that system of education which was tailored at driving Nigeria to attain some level of technological development, and then they went to so many, the technical college in my state, Ikoradidem, they brought in equipment based on that, educational policy. They brought in a lot of equipment and they stacked them there. And that is how it has decayed, that not been installed, nothing has happened. And that system of education was changed because that government was no longer there. Now, how do you sustain a country where there is no continuity in policy implementation, in policy creation, policy implementation? How do you have such a country? And so when you have a government that has refused to pay living wages to those who are responsible for taking care of children, of training your future leaders, of training the young people, and then the government is investing so much in politics, that's the presidency, the National Assembly, and other institutions of government, and the civil service is taking so much of the resources instead of putting them where your future is. And so you have a government that we talk of the UNESCO benchmark for education, and then we talk of percentages. We have never gotten or spent anything close. And they will have so many excuses. How much has this present government been budgeting for education? How much have they budgeted for the National Assembly? How much has been budgeted for the presidency? The last time we checked, the money that was given to the clinic at Aso Rock Villa was higher than, almost bigger than what was given to all the tertiary hospitals, the teaching hospitals in the country. And we are talking about creating manpower that will drive the economy of the country, and that will deliver on the promise of growth, sustainable development and growth. How can we make progress? The government has to be serious about what it has to do. It started when they started sacking teachers. When you sack teachers, you don't have the need for teachers, and you don't take good care of teachers. How do you intend to get children who will be educated, properly educated, who have skills and competencies? We are not talking about certificate. Who work smart, who understand what is happening in the world, who could go. Tell me a country that is desirous of sustainable development, and I'll show you a country that's investing properly in its young people.
Well, recently, I think Bill Gates was heavily criticized for saying to the Nigerian government that the Nigerian government is not investing in its people, especially in the area of education. Olawale, you were trying to give us an example earlier.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I was trying to say that I was trying to give an analogy of what we have on ground right now. So we have an education system that was designed, like he rightly said, for us to just be able to read, write, and do simple arithmetics. Because I will have to go back to our colonial masters now, because those who designed the curriculum really didn't want us to get educated. It's just like you getting an house help from, say, Nigeria or somewhere who doesn't understand your language, and you want to say, okay, let me send you to school so that you can be able to understand simple English, so that if I want to get anything or if I want to send you errands, I can, our communication, it's better. And so I think our education system is designed to make us literate in terms of the slave era and all that, so that our masters can probably just be able to direct us aright and can understand ourselves better. But as time progresses, look at China. China was colonized by those who colonized us, and they probably need to snap out of that colonial mentality. So we need to come out of where we have been. We are no longer slaves. We need to define to ourselves the kind of education system that we want for the future of the country, because education is like the piston of an engine. It's like the piston of the whole nation. So the kind of mechanism you have on ground for your education system. So when we now have this kind of education system, and for like 20, 50 years after, we now have people who can read. I call them sophisticated literate but uneducated people. You have people who can read, who can write, but cannot think beyond the box of how to make society better. So we now have people who follow grades, who have grades, who are successful graders, but can't add value to the society. So in their business empires, you cannot expand it. We now have situations where there are much more unemployment. And looking back to investment in education, because of the fact that we have leaders who are not interested in the future, so to say, of the country, I think every leader should be interested in whom takes over, or in whom takes over the country or the environment he or she is governing over. So if we now have leaders who have decided that out of the entire budget of the country, I think 2018 is the time we had the highest benchmark in terms of education. We have 7.1%, and the minimum UNESCO give, the minimum standard for school is 25%. So it means that as a country, we are not even serious about the future of this country. So we now have students who have now, because of unemployment rate, we have people looking for means to make money. And such means are beginning to become legalized in terms of appraisal. Societal appraisal is becoming to legalize it. If I'm a Yahoo boy now, I can go to society. Society has made it look as if I have a legit business. That's what I'm trying to say, that we need to change our cycle of what we call success. So somebody who is a Yahoo boy, who has actually got money illegally, will be praised. So it now goes back to sexual harassment. So a lady who has probably decided to sexually use sex for grades will also be praised by our fellow peer, because our appraisal for success too has changed somehow as a nation. So I think we should go back deep down to the foundation and begin to ask ourselves critical